Hey guys, I'm going to do something kind of unique here with this video. I got a couple of questions I keep getting in on the rank and rent system. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to answer those, but I've actually got it on Facebook Live as well. So I'm going to kind of keep that live and kind of keep it interesting there. Two main questions I keep getting asked is one, how do you rank your websites up to get the calls in the first place? The second question is going to be, how exactly do you get that first client to either buy leads from you or rent the site actually out completely? So I'm going to kind of get into that. Now let me get this this screen out of here, and I'll kind of get into a little bit of detail here. If you guys have some time too, if you are watching this on YouTube instead of on the actual live feed on Facebook, you can do me a favor and go and subscribe to the channel. I'm putting out a ton of content over there. Lots of new videos all the time, lots of good stuff coming out of there, but do me a favor, kind of like that and subscribe there so I can grow that up. So for first question, I mean, how exactly do we get a site to the top and get it dominant enough to where it's getting the actual calls of people looking for business in that industry? Honestly, it's a real simple thing. If you just look right now, it's 3 a.m. on a now Saturday morning, and I am still sitting here working on these sites. So I mean, you got to hustle, stay on top of what's going on with the trends in the market of SEO, but just work. I mean, I didn't just get one up for my recent deal. I actually have 24 sites that are currently ranking, and I actually got them gathered together and did one solid contract on that one. So, but the big question here, I'm going to show you a few things. I'll give you an example site. So this is actually going to be Movers Hemmet. This is a site I built specifically for ranking. If you guys go through my YouTube page, you'll see we actually did a 7-day challenge with this one. We got this site ranking from 66th place to the top of search and the top of Google Maps within, I believe it was 72 hours. So you can kind of go back and see that whole ranking series. We go through some of the steps in there and answer some of those questions, but the big thing is once it's there, this phone starts ringing, these forms start coming in, and you got to kind of figure out what to do with them, and more importantly, how to get those calls in the first place. So the first thing that I'm going to give you here is a system I was using for this site specifically, and for some of the other sites, is going to be called CallFire. If it'll open up there, there we go. So what this site is actually, you can go and you can buy and rent numbers. You can then put them on your sites. Somebody calls that number, and you can actually redirect it wherever you want. In the case of building a fresh site, I'll usually redirect to my cell phone or one of the salespeople that we have around. But in the sense of the very first one, I'm going to kind of go back to a story on that one. The very first rank and rent that I did and lead generation system, I basically had that number go directly to my phone. And right here, when you guys are on these and you're setting it up, don't go through the IVR systems. That's a little tip I learned. I lost a huge amount of traffic by using this specific IVR system here. Go directly into phone numbers and buy a phone number there and just direct that line straight over. Don't bounce it around, just let it come straight to the line. And you'll make sure that actually comes through there. And a little bit here, I'll show this. I actually don't want to get in and show the actual numbers. So what I did is I went to the next page and I screenshotted or just did the animate tool. So you can see this is Movers Hemmet. In the last 60 days here, this is going to be calls that came in and calls that were received, and then texting. A lot of people try and text. I've actually turned both those off now, but that's just kind of an idea there. Now, my more successful site, this is a recent set of them, so you guys can get an idea of what we ended up seeing once Google Maps starts hitting. I mean, we've got the text line here, we've got what came through, what was answered. I mean, this one phone line alone had about 1,388 phone calls come in that time span there. We've got the texting turned off on most of them, but we kind of go back and forth and experiment where they go, where they direct. But use multiple lines. Try multiple things. Don't put one phone line out there for everything. Run some ads and see if that actually sparks stuff for the industry that you're working in. So you can kind of track the different areas there. And that's just an idea of what a good actual city, not a metropolitan, not a suburb, not go start out at the base. I mean, when we come in and we rank these, we come right in for the heaviest search, biggest competition, and we measure ourselves up that way. And in this case, we definitely won there. Now, as far as the very first one, so The biggest tip that I can give you guys is you got to learn to sell. Plain and simple. I know, a lot of people are into SEO and rank and rent because they want to sit behind computers and, not have to deal with the clientele, but that's not the case in this portion of SEO. I mean, there's plenty of other stuff out there that you could try. I mean, just, plain ranking for clients SEO, but even then you're still gonna have to sell the client at the end of the day. But basically what I had happen is I went ahead and we called around to a couple of the, for Movers Summit, the local moving companies. We told them we were looking to get a move. So we wanted to get a real gauge on pricing, kind of see what it sounded like when they talked to a client and really feel what our leads were going to go through from start to finish. Somebody's looking for a mover in that area. They found our website, they liked it enough to make the call. We converted them. I want to see what happens next in that process. So we felt that out. We got the pricing down, and basically once the sites hit, they hit hard. It's not like a hit and miss thing. Once you're ranking up, you get calls in, and the phone started blowing up on my cell phone. So, I just kept letting it go to voicemail for a little bit, and I went ahead and just after I got that information, went ahead and answered the first one there, and just pitched it. I said I was Movers Summit, just kind of basically just bullshit around a little bit with it, but I ended up quoting way over the top, and just because I knew I would end the call and not have to actually book the appointment. And I tried to do that on the second one. Well, the second one, when I pitched over the top, went ahead and signed up for an appointment. So I scheduled her for, I believe it was 20 days from that date. It was a full move of a house. So now I'm basically sitting there with an appointment on the table of, a moving company that doesn't actually exist and nobody to give the lead to. So at that time, I let a couple more of those come through, changed my voicemail for a day. That way it said Movers Summit, and a couple people left some voicemails, gathered some forms. And this is where it made a huge difference on negotiating power. Like, I know a lot of people get that $6.50 or $8 or $12 or $15 a call. And that's kind of the going rate, but that's the going rate based on someone not knowing what their ROI is going to be. So we went ahead, I did this for a week. I knew what the close ratio was. I knew what these people are paying. I knew what their profit margins were at the end of the day. And having all that information, you can really just walk in and make an appointment with a movie company or business owner. Chances are with the moving companies in particular, you're going to get them right on the phone the first time. The owners usually have the cell phones in their pockets. With this one, I kind of walked into the office and sat down and just kind of got into the back, talked to him here. But I went ahead and just played the recording of that sell, of me actually closing that one at, almost 3 times what he actually charges for moves, and said, this is what my phone line's worth. These calls come in, they're looking to buy. They're not price shopping, obviously, because we just close it at a way higher rate than you actually do. I had a ton of the voicemails. I had a ton of the forms come in. And actually, I had the phones turned on, and I went ahead and opened a second moving line at that time. And that phone call, so 2 lines were directed at my cell phone. So while I'm sitting there talking to him, my cell phone starts ringing, and it's a moving lead. So I went ahead and slid it across the table. And you tell them this is for you. So that one was a pretty easy close after that. The last question you're going to ask them is if they have any kind of lifeboats in the office, because you're about to flood the place with leads, and ended on that note. But that's I got the first client as far as rank and rent. So it's just a sales situation. So sales is all numbers. So if you answer the phone a few times yourself, get used to the leads, know what you're bringing to the table, you can come in and you can ask a lot higher price than $8 to $10. And I guarantee, that's not even close to what I get per these leads. So if you have your analytics, you have your data, you can negotiate a little bit. If you, if that doesn't work, if that's not up to your taste, you can also do the cold call method. Run down Craigslist, run down Yelp, find all the movers, call them and sell them at $6.50 if that's what you want to do. But like I said, it's about maximizing profit on all the work that you put in to get this thing to the top in the first place. So like I said, that's a little bit more information on that. Like I said, we're live on Facebook, so it's going to be recorded on there. I'm also going to shoot this video out, and you guys will be able to see it in the rank and rent section of YouTube. So I hope that helped a little bit with how to go out and get those clients. Biggest advice, just sharpen up that sales game and hit the pavement, start knocking on doors, find somebody to take these leads over, because they are worth a lot to the right business. You're going to be putting food on their table at the end of the day.
saw the bluff in his face.